watching Idaho's News Channel 7. This is today's morning news.
We start out this morning once again on the fire watch. It is fire season and crews are still working to keep the Nath fire away from buildings in the small community of Bergdorf.
The fire is burning about 30 miles north of McCall and just a half-mile away from Bergdorf Hot Springs. Our Joey Prechtel has been there since early yesterday. He joins us now live from the fire camp with the very latest. Joey.
Yeah, Doug and Maggie, well, the Nath fire has scorched about 1,100 acres so far, and right now crews are telling me that it's about 5% contained. Now, at this time, they have put more closures in the area because of the fire activity. These include some popular recreation areas near Upper Payette Lake. Now, those closures include the Trail Lake, Summit Lake, as well as Lake Rock. Now, late yesterday afternoon, the Payette National Forest said the fire has started to actually move into an old fire scar to the northeast, so it's actually expected to slow its progress in that direction because there are fewer plants and trees to fuel that fire. Now, also slowing the fire is air support. We'll show you video now of what that looks like. Yesterday, super scooper planes picked up water from the Payette Lake to actually drop on the fire. Now, more than 380 people are working on this fire, many of whom are dedicated to protecting the structures of Bergdorf.
That's where our efforts are focused. So we want to keep fire just completely away from there. If push comes to shove and that doesn't work, then we would try to prevent fire from reaching those structures as much as possible.
Right now, a full evacuation is in effect for all of Bergdorf, and Warren Wagon and Bergdorf roads are both closed. Fire crews are asking people to just stay away from the area, to not come up here and take pictures and video, because that'll just distract the firefighters from actually focusing on the fire. Also in effect is a temporary flight restriction over the fire area, as well as Payette Lake. They're asking people to not fly drones over this area because that'll suspend all air activity. We showed you that video of the super scooper planes. If they have a drone, if someone is flying a drone in that area, they won't be able to do that until they determine that airspace is safe again. Doug and Maggie?
Joey, thank you so much. Now, you've been there for many, many hours, of course, overnight as well. So you've also been checking with the people living in the town of Sesesh. So are they worried about the fire reaching them as well?
Well, what the fire crews told me yesterday, Doug, is that they do obviously have some concerns with the fire burning just a few miles away from them. Now, what the fire crews told me they should be doing is, now that fire isn't imminently threatening Sesesh, it just is, like I said, a few miles away, but they should have a plan. They should just be ready to evacuate at any, moment's notice. That way they're not scrambling, at the last minute to try to get some stuff together to get out of there. But again, fire crews are saying right now they're not imminently threatened at this time. They just should have a plan and should be ready to go just in case that call does come.
All right, thank you so much, Joey Prechtel. He'll stay out there for us this morning throughout the newscast. Lightning, by the way, started this fire Sunday afternoon. We're now on Friday, so it's been several days of firefighters trying to get a hold of that fire.
1,100 acres at last check, too. And it looks like the weather could be causing some more lightning for that area right now.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, there is. That's why there's a red flag warning that's been issued in that area again for today. That could be extended even further into tomorrow. We're looking at temperatures right now that are on kind of the warm side. We've been staying a little bit warmer with some of the cloud cover. The clouds are starting to exit a little bit, but we do expect to see a break for today, but there'll be more chances of showers later on. And of course, we're looking at relatively light winds. Nobody's even in double digits, so the winds have calmed down a bit. We're looking at 91. Now, that's actually very near normal, but there's a 30% chance of showers into this evening here in the area. There's also a 30 to a 40% chance through some of the higher elevations, and actually it's going to be not so much moisture but lightning activity that we're concerned about in those areas. So we'll be watching for that. We'll still see those isolated thunderstorms. Cooler temperatures overall will help, and it's going to be cool and mild into next week. I have details about that in a moment.
Thanks, Larry. We're following breaking news out of Caldwell this morning, too. Quick action by firefighters there kept a fire at a trailer business from spreading to a business that stores a lot of propane right next door.
It could have been a huge problem. Joe Paris live there right now, where firefighters say that really could have been a dangerous situation, Joe. So what is the status of the fire right now?
Well, Maggie, the fire has been contained and surrounded. Behind me, there used to be an outbuilding that was standing a few hours ago, now completely destroyed. These are the flames that were on scene here early this morning. It's tough to tell on this small video, but firefighters tell me it was fully engulfed in flames shortly after 4 o'clock this morning when they got on scene. I'll show you some video right now that we took here within the last hour as crews were putting out the remaining flames out here. Now, they tell us they're not exactly sure what caused this fire. Again, called in about 4 o'clock. But when crews from the entire Canyon County area pulled up, they found this trailer painting building where this business stands. They found it fully engulfed. And they tell me it's an outbuilding. It's been completely destroyed. Now, they had to be very careful, as we mentioned, because the fire at the trailer manufacturing company right next door is AmeriGas propane. Now, where we're standing right now, there is a ton of propane as well as other gas products. So they had to be careful to make sure that the fire did not spread here, because they would have had a huge headache if it had. Now, firefighters tell me they're still on scene right now, putting out those hot spots. That outbuilding collapsed on top of itself, and because of that, there's still some fire pockets on the inside that they have to make sure are fully put out. And they tell me that as soon as they have everything cleaned up here, crews mopping up the scene behind me, they're going to start the fire investigation. For now, Doug and Maggie, no indication on what caused it. They tell me, though, nobody was here. There's no injuries this morning. But again, that outbuilding completely destroyed at this trailer manufacturing company in Caldwell.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
All right, Joe, thank you very much. And now we're going to go back to the fire watch on the wildfire front. Now, grass fire threatened homes in Kuna. A neighbor credits his fire break and a fast response by firefighters for saving his house. The fire started yesterday morning near Cunamora Road and Vista Avenue, close to the Boise Gun Club. It burned more than 300 acres over a few hours. Firefighters put it out before the flames could damage any of the houses there.
If you can see, it's literally stopped right here. We had some brush around the trailers here, but not enough to really get it on fire. It burnt the tire carrier on both of the trailers. Besides that, it literally stopped where my fire break was. If I didn't have this fire line here, it would have gotten into my property. It could have made it all the way to my house and burned down my house and everything.
Good pre-planning and pre-work by him. The cause of the fire at this time is still unknown.
Albertsons is dropping a lawsuit against a small bakery and a beer growler shop in Boise's Hillcrest Shopping Center. Did you hear about this yesterday? Albertsons filed the original lawsuit against Granny C's Bakery and Cope & Ross last week, claiming illegal competition. In a statement issued yesterday afternoon, the president of Albertsons Intermountain Division said when it filed the lawsuits, the company was not aware of some discrepancies between its lease agreement and the lease agreements for Granny C's and Cope & Ross. After reviewing the lease terms, Albertsons says the fault sits with the landlord, not these businesses. The owner of Granny C's says he's happy they don't have to pay to fight a lawsuit now, and they're beyond grateful for all of the community's support in just the last few days.
We are so happy that the Boise community has helped us through a very trying situation, and all we can do is say thank you.
Now, the past couple of days, the bakery has had to close early, Doug, because it completely sold out of everything. Muffins, cinnamon rolls, anything they had, people were snatching up because they wanted to support this small bakery. Albertsons is still going ahead with the lawsuit against the landlord, FPA Shops.
The city of Boise is finishing up a successful week of sailing camp. All of the equipment and the boats for this were first donated by the community.
It's really a cool idea, and our Joe Paris tells us how it all came together.
It's really nice because like motorboats are loud, and these are just like, it's nice to be on the water and you can just like be right there.
Sailing is an art, but also a science.
It's pretty easy to control, but it takes some getting used to because it's going the opposite direction. So whichever way, if you push it that way, it'll go that way.
It definitely takes practice to perfect, but this group of neon sails are being controlled by kids who are brand new to the sport.
We have the resources here in Idaho to offer people that access to the Olympic sport of sailing. It took some infrastructure, it took some heavy lifting, but why not?
Southern Idaho Sailing Outreach works to grow the sailing community, and they were looking to get younger people involved. So they reached out to Boise Parks and Rec to collaborate, and after years of work, they're finally able to put together a summer camp.
If you ever want to get a kid into a program, it's got to be fun, and U.S. Sailing provided us with some excellent curriculum to make sure that that was the case here.
Maggie Scanlon's parents found out about the camp and asked if she wanted to go.
I was just like, yeah, definitely, that sounds fun.
In a matter of days, she's already picking up those technical skills.
Bringing the boom from one side to the other to safely jibe,
It supports their physical and their mental health. It gets them off their devices. It gets some STEM education into their summer. And again, it's that access point into the Olympic sport of sailing.
Organizers know that if they want to expand beyond their pilot program, that these campers, they need to enjoy it.
Boom's coming.
And now those reviews are in.
So the reactions from the kids and the families have all been thumbs up.
It was fun because you get to like control the boat and do all the different parts of it, control all of it. Just takes practice.
Such a fun camp, the kids really enjoying it, and what a great opportunity to go to sailing camp right here in our community.
That's right, and now the city is fundraising for more boats and equipment so they can hopefully expand the camp next year.
And they may also try to host some adult and family camps too, so if your family's interested in sailing, what a great thing to do together.
All right, well, let's check in with Larry for a look at our weather. We're still expecting some stormy conditions possibly and cooler temperatures.
Yeah, we are. Definitely cooler temperatures. We'll get some breaks in the clouds for a while today, but then there's a 30% chance of some showers along with thunderstorm activity. And remember, when we say 30% chance, that means the chance of moisture. There's a better chance of seeing thunderstorms without the moisture. That's why we have a red flag warning that's been issued out there. I'll show you that in a moment. We're at 70 degrees right now, and yeah, that's warm and above normal because normal is around 61. Our normal high is at 92. Remember that as we watch some of the other temperatures. 57%. It is definitely humid out there for this morning. Now, low temperatures, higher humidity, and light winds do help in some of these firefighting circumstances, but it doesn't last that long. We're looking at the potential for thunderstorms in all of these areas. That's why we have this red flag warning. And in fact, it's been issued until tomorrow afternoon. In some areas, even a little bit longer, and it could be extended. So a lot of the areas past the Magic Valley and out towards the east are getting away from it this time because this is moisture. There's still some of that monsoon moisture been pushed into the area, but this time aggravated a little bit by low pressure off the coast of California. Now, this low pressure off the coast of California will actually bring about a cool down. It'll bring in a few more clouds and some chances of showers, but there's really not much moisture embedded in this. We've said that from the beginning. So it's just going to kind of push this high pressure out, but it will bring in the cool temperatures, mild conditions, and clearing in the sky. So it's going to be rather nice into much of next week. We're going to calm down quite a bit. So as we look ahead to your 7 First Alert Futurecast for today, well, for the Magic Valley area, we're going to be looking at, again, some clearing, and same thing. There'll be some chances of showers this afternoon. Roughly for the Magic Valley, that starts around about 5, goes till 7 into the Treasure Valley. Some of the mountain areas will see that into this evening. Then clearing once again for tomorrow, but more chances of some showers. You notice it starts a little bit earlier, about 5. By 6 o'clock, we start to see more of this up through some of the other mountain areas, and then everything clears off even more as we go into Sunday. All right, for the forecast then today in the Magic Valley, we're going to be seeing some sunshine at times, so it's going to be mostly sunny skies, but look for those clouds to increase and chances of some showers and thunderstorms for tonight. Temperatures near normal. Near normal for the Central Mountains, also mostly sunny skies, puts us into the 70s and 80s. For the West Central Mountains, low 80s and upper 70s, although 93 at Riggins, still pretty close to normal, and close to normal for the lower Treasure Valley, plus close to normal for daytime highs. 92 is normal. We're at 91. Your 7 First Alert 7-day forecast. We are going to be much cooler as we go into next week. More sunshine than anything else and mild conditions. Maggie, Doug?
Thank you, Larry. Well, the NRA is sending out a warning to the president this morning.
Now, this comes after growing pressure to take action on gun legislation in the wake of the mass shootings. What the head of the organization reportedly told the president, coming up.
Also, Idaho Congressman Russ Fulcher shares his thoughts on mass shootings with Doug and what he expects to happen in Washington, D.C. to try to stop all this violence. You're going to hear from him coming up after the break.
This is a live look at the U.S. Capitol in D.C. this morning. And we're following 3 big stories out of the nation's capital. First, the woman in line to become the interim director of national intelligence, Sue Gordon, has resigned before ever taking the job. Gordon has been the country's #2 intelligence chief, but abruptly resigned with only 1 week's notice. Instead, President Trump has now named Joseph McGuire, the director of the National Counterterrorism Center, to that post. Second, former FBI Director Andrew McCabe is, Deputy Director that is, Andrew McCabe is suing the Trump administration for what he's calling unlawful termination. McCabe says his firing was, quote, political interference. He was fired before his 50th birthday last year, just hours before his 50th birthday, which is when he would have gotten access to his full pension. Third, the head of the National Rifle Association is warning President Trump about expanding background checks on gun sales. According to the Washington Post, the CEO of the NRA told the president the move would not be popular with their supporters. The NRA is one of the most powerful lobbying groups in America. Meantime, the top two Democrats in Congress say President Trump has assured them he will review a House bill that expands federal background checks for gun sales. The House passed the bill, but the Senate has not voted on it yet. In an interview for this weekend's edition of Viewpoint, Idaho Congressman Russ Fulcher, who voted against that bill, by the way, shared his thoughts on what he expects to happen in Washington, D.C. to try to keep guns out of the wrong hands and prevent more mass killings like we saw this past weekend in El Paso and Dayton.
Ultimately, is Congress going to act? Yeah, I think Congress probably will act. Is that going to fix it? No, it's not. Somehow we've got to get back to that culture, that hearts and minds of our people and fix things there.
So how do you think Congress is going to act? What steps do you expect?
Well, sometimes you get what you ask for, and enough people are asking for intervention. I think they'll probably get it in some way.
Is that background checks, the
yeah,
red flag
warnings? I personally have some significant concerns about red flags. If I were to bet, it would either be a red flag type law or laws, or it would be what's called the TAPS Act. These are my words, not what's in the legislation per se, but basically it's a mass surveillance authorization. And imagine remember what life was like in the airport security world before 9/11 and after. Mm-hmm. If this were to be authorized, there would be a significant magnification of just the surveillance of our everyday life, and it would be for security purposes.
And when asked if he would support background check legislation, Congressman Fulcher said the devil's in the details and he would have to see what's proposed. During Viewpoint, airing Sunday morning at 6:30, he discusses a wide variety of issues, including his vote against the recent budget deal, the tensions with China over trade, and how he's connecting with constituents here in Idaho as he travels around his district during the August recess. Also this morning, as you may know firsthand, affordable housing is a major issue in the Treasure Valley right now. So much so that U.S. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development Ben Carson is coming to Boise. Idaho Senator Mike Crapo says Carson will be here Monday to meet with local leaders to talk about the challenges and ways to help more people find affordable housing. Secretary Carson is also scheduled to tour the IndyDwell factory in Caldwell. IndyDwell turns shipping containers into homes. Maggie.
Well, today's Instagram star is hitting it big, sharing hacks and tips on painting. Painting houses has never been so cool. The Idaho painter makes it that way. Wait until you see how big his business is now. It's all about his paint life. That's coming up in less than 10 minutes. And Larry has a look at your weather forecast so you can make your plans for the weekend. How are things looking? That's a beautiful shot to start the morning. We will be right back.
From News Channel 7, time for 7 First Alert weather.
Welcome back. Well, we are still looking at a little bit more of that unsettled monsoonal moisture is going to move through. Some of that will still produce some chances of some thunderstorms, pausing here at about 7 this evening. Some of that's going to move through the Magic Valley a little sooner, starts to head in through the Treasure Valley and up through the mountain areas. Then we're going to be seeing a similar to Saturday afternoon as we see a bit more, especially up through some of the higher elevations. We expect to see that. And then everything starts to clear off. It'll be pretty mild. Temperatures actually be a bit below normal as we go into next week. Today, normal daytime highs for the most part everywhere, and we're going to have a break during a portion of the day as we have mostly sunny skies. Also means the temperatures will be in the upper 70s, low 80s for the central mountains. Now, all of these areas are seeing this break, but there's a chance of some showers and thunderstorms for tonight. Actually, a better chance of thunderstorms than showers. We may not get that much moisture associated with it because there never was that much embedded in this entire system. So for the day, we're going to be looking at a high of 91 where normal is at 92. Your 7 First Alert 7-day forecast, there's your cool down. Look at that. We're talking 91 today is the warmest day we have for the next 7. We're going to be as cool as 80 degrees on Sunday with temperatures dropping to 55 degrees for your morning low on Monday. Got a little sunshine and clouds mixing together for next week. Maggie, Doug?
Okay, Larry, thank you. Well, are you hungry right now? Because if you're not, you're going to be in just a minute. Sorry about that. If you're new around here or just looking for a tasty treat, Idaho has so much great food to offer you. From our finger steaks to our fry sauce. If you haven't had fry sauce, that's life-changing for a lot of people. Idaho Spud Bars, ice cream potatoes. Have you heard of all of this stuff? If you haven't tried any of these Idaho delicacies, like a Boston milkshake or anything huckleberry? What are you waiting for? You can check out our comprehensive list of iconic Idaho foods right now on KTVB.com. It's a lot of fun. And if you don't see your favorite Idaho treat on the list, send us an email. We'll check it out for you and add it to the list. But the ice cream potato, by the way, many people have asked me, that sounds gross. It's not a potato.
It's an ice cream with like cinnamon on it,
It's an ice cream that looks
right?
like a potato. It's chocolate powder.
And chocolate powder, that's
And that
right,
has whipped
that's
cream and fudge. So it's a hot fudge sundae in the shape of a potato.
It looks so real.
Oh, those are good too.
Looks so much like a
yeah.
potato.
So anyway,
See,
these
look how, that looks like a potato, but it's ice cream.
It does. If you're heading to the fair, go to Chef Lou's, West Side Drive-In. You can get that ice cream potato. It is famous and it is delicious.
Fantastic. Well, what sounds like a chore for some people is a passion for others.
We're talking about painting houses, and today's Instagram star from the Treasure Valley making a big living off more than just painting itself. You're going to meet him coming up after this break.
First, let's check in with Joe Paris on breaking news we're following this morning in Caldwell. Joe.
Doug, crews have now cleared the scene here in Caldwell after a manufacturing building burned down here at a trailer manufacturing company. Ahead at 6:30, we're live here from the scene with the latest info from firefighters.
Welcome back, everyone. A time to check in on traffic right now. We have 4 traffic cameras to show you, and really, all in all, they're looking pretty good right now, as you can see here. No major holdups there at Eagle or Meridian right now. Well, today's Instagram star is a local residential painter. Yes, a painter. He started his painting business 18 years ago right here in the Treasure Valley, and thanks to social media, his success story is now bigger and better than he could have ever imagined. Check out the Idaho painter and his paint life.
My name is Chris Berry and my Instagram is Idaho Painter, and I have about 138,000 followers, and it's growing all the time. So I started my own painting company here in the Treasure Valley about 18 years ago, and I'm a self-taught painter, and I started marketing my painting company utilizing YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and that was one of the things I did, was marketing, and it just kind of took off and grew to the business that it is now, and it's a full-time job running my social media channels.
Quick tip for you, if you're using a cardboard shield holder.
I had this passion to just help teach, and I didn't want to have professional painters out there have to go through the same struggles I did, so I started teaching and educating on YouTube. I've got over 1,000 videos on YouTube that's going to teach you anything and everything when it comes to the trade. Typically interior and exterior painting, tips, tricks, and hacks.
So I got a simple hack for you, and that's keeping your buckets nice and clean.
It really started to grow bigger than my painting company. So I really started to focus on the teaching and educating on social media, and I started what is called the Paint Life Academy. So I've done some international traveling teaching, and I wanted to have something here in Boise, Idaho for local painters to teach and educate them, but also for people to travel within the United States and make it affordable.
So that's for dispensing small amounts of spackle.
But what it's turned into now, which is very exciting, is we've created our own line of products. So we have our own paintbrush and our own line of products called Paint Life Products. I've had the opportunity to travel the world. It's amazing. It's been an amazing journey.
Isn't that incredible? It all came from painting. And you can follow Chris on YouTube with over 240,000 subscribers there. On Facebook, Doug, he has over 250,000 followers. Instagram, 139,000 and growing. You can also check out his website. Just search for the Idaho Painter. But really, it's very impressive that he has a line of products coming out, and he says you're going to see them in stores everywhere.
The way it all developed from starting out painting houses and then...
I love these homegrown success stories here locally. It's just incredible.
On the online side of it. We'll be right back. A huge fire continues to burn north of McCall. It's the Nath fire. We have the very latest on it as crews continue to battle it as it closes in on Bergdorf.
Back in the Treasure Valley, crews in the Caldwell area knocked down an early morning fire here at a business. We'll tell you what we know about it so far.
And the recent mass shootings in Dayton and El Paso have some Americans on edge, and it made this moment at a Walmart in Missouri even more frightening. We'll tell you what happened.
You're watching Idaho's News Channel 7. This is today's morning news.
We're going to start this half hour with a look at our weather forecast.
Yes.
We have these fires burning around the area. The biggest one, Larry, right now that we're focusing on is the Nath fire.
Yeah,
of course,
it is.
what's the weather situation in the mountains?
Well, as Joey's been saying too, it's about 30 miles north of McCall, and as we kind of take a look right now, we don't see a lot of activity there, but we're going to kind of move into that area because we're talking about a spot that, as he's been talking about, is up here, just a little bit north of the McCall area, and we have what is a red flag warning there right now. Now, overnight, there were some showers that kind of moved around it. They didn't really get much into that fire area, but it did kind of wet things down a little bit over closer to New Meadows. In addition to that, that red flag warning is in effect until about noon tomorrow. So we are talking about seeing more activity, more potential for some thunderstorms in that region. We're also talking about some warm temperatures out there. We don't have much in the way of winds right now. Everything's a little bit calmer. That is helping. Higher humidity levels also makes a difference. But we're looking at a high today in the Boise area of 91 degrees. It's going to be into the 80s in that region, and of course that is going to continue to cause a problem. But mostly it's the isolated thunderstorms could be a big issue in terms of any potential problems. There was always strong gusty winds associated with that. Even there may not be that much moisture, but those associated winds, it will cool down in the coming days here and there. That will help a little bit in terms of those firefighting efforts. Maggie, Doug?
That's good to hear. They need that.
It is
kind of
good to hear.
Well, breaking news this morning out of Caldwell, a different type of fire. Quick action from firefighters there kept a fire at a trailer business from spreading to a business that stores a lot of propane right next door.
Yeah, our Joe Paris is live there now, where firefighters tell us this really could have been very dangerous. So Joe, what is the status of that fire now and how are things?
Maggie, crews have for the most part cleared the scene. You can see behind me, this is where we had that building burning about an hour ago. Now crews say they're just mopping up, and the fire investigation, they say, will get underway as soon as the sun gets up. We'll show you some video though from early this morning and get an idea of what this scene looked like. 7 different fire departments were dispatched out here in the Caldwell area off Highway 19. About 4 o'clock this morning, they got a call that a building here at a trailer manufacturer was fully engulfed in flames. Now we're told that the building that caught fire, that burnt to the ground, is where the trailers were actually painted. So there's a lot of paint cans and paint chemicals inside that building. So there were some pops that were heard this morning, some explosions. Firefighters tell me those were those big gallon tank things. So what we're talking about now is the defensive strategy they worked on this morning. Again, as we mentioned, AmeriGas right next door to the trailer manufacturer, so they had to protect all the propane here on the scene. There's a 58,000 gallon propane tank here, and they know if the fire would have gotten to that, it would have been a huge disaster. So again, though, they have knocked down the flames. They say it's contained. They say there may be a few hot spots left here at the trailer manufacturer, but Doug, Maggie, they tell me they did their best job this morning because they knew if the fire had spread to the AmeriGas complex, it would have been a huge disaster.
Oh
Yeah,
my goodness, I can't imagine.
And Joe, good also to hear that nobody was hurt there now as they work to figure out what started this fire.
All right, back to our breaking news on the Fire Watch 2, the Nath fire. We are still covering that for you this morning. This is burning about 30 miles north of McCall and only a half mile away from Bergdorf Hot Springs, and crews are still working to protect buildings there in Bergdorf.
Yeah, lightning caused this fire on Sunday afternoon. Our Joey Prechtel and photographer Troy Colson have been there since early yesterday as they've taken over coverage of this fire for us this morning, and now Joey's live today. So Joey, what is the latest on it as you report there live from the fire camp?
Well, Doug and Maggie, the Nath fire has forced some more closures in this area. The Payette National Forest announcing that because of the fire activity, some popular recreation areas in the upper Payette Lake area are not able to be accessed at this time because of that fire activity. Those include Lake Rock, Trail Lake, as well as Summit Lake. Now, the Payette National Forest says the fire has burned about 1,100 acres and is 5% contained at this time. Now, late yesterday afternoon, the Payette National Forest said the fire is moving northeast into an old burn scar from actually 2000. They say the fire will likely slow down there because there are fewer plants and trees to burn. Also helping slow the fire down is air support from 2 Super Scooper planes. Now, we're going to show you video of what that looked like. Yesterday, the scooper planes picked up water from Payette Lake to drop on the fire. More than 380 people are working on the fire, which is not threatening the community of Seasesh at this time.
Okay.
And they should be getting set because, fire is a few miles away. It's not imminently threatening their community, but there's nothing worse than, you know, not having to plan, not being ready.
Now, right now, all of Bergdorf is under a full evacuation. Both Warren, Wagon, and Bergdorf roads are closed. Flight restrictions are in place over the fire, as well as Payette Lake, since that's where those two Super Scooper planes are picking up the water. They're asking people to just stay away from the area, or stay away from the fire area, and to not fly drones over the fire area or the Payette Lake, because they'll have to suspend all air operations if they do see a drone. Doug and Maggie?
Well, hey, Joe, you know, it sounds like there's supposed to be some cooler temperatures there, and are firefighters hoping that that helps them out?
Well, Doug, what the fire crews told me is that the rain and cooler temperatures are very welcome. That should help keep the fuels not as dry so they don't burn as quickly. But one of their concerns with any potential storm is going to be outflow winds, or winds that can change direction. Obviously, if those winds do come in, they can move the fire in unknown directions. So they said they're just going to have to keep aware of which direction the winds are blowing, and to make sure they're prepared for anything that these storms may bring.
All right, Joey, great reporting there live from the fire camp near the Bergdorf Hot Springs area, just outside of McCall as well. Joey, thank you so much for being there for us this morning. And so we now know the weather is affecting the Nath fire, but how about how the fire is affecting the people who live in and around Bergdorf? Evacuations are still in place, which means homeowners can't be there to protect their homes. So who is doing that? Well, we talked to a woman who owns a summer home there who has evacuated to Boise. Her cabin has been in her family since 1955. She hopes it remains untouched by the Nath fire, but is worried because she didn't have help in preparing to protect her home from the floating embers. She says she called the chairman of the Idaho County Commission, Skip Brandt, yesterday to ask him if there's anything he or the county can do to help. He told us this.
If you want to live back in the trees in that perfect environment, by God, I want people to do it. But when you do it, don't look at your neighbors to come in and rescue you when you've built where you shouldn't have built.
And Commissioner Chairman Brandt also told KTVB he is not willing to spend taxpayer dollars on sending crews to protect private structures in Bergdorf.
Until the past few days, it seems as if Idaho has had a fairly calm fire season. Our Misty Englett talked to a spokesperson with the National Interagency Fire Center to find out where this season ranks as we approach mid-August now. Well, it looks like we're having a hard time getting her story together, but currently the National Interagency Fire Center says about 20 acres are burning across the Gem State. That includes the Nath fire near Bergdorf. NIFC has the Great Basin Incident Response Team working on that fire, as well as others across the nation. But according to NIFC, overall fire season in Idaho is not yet as active as we've had in previous seasons. We'll continue to update this story for you and bring you more, but really our fire season has been relatively calm compared to what we've experienced
certainly in the past. We're turning to news around the nation right now, and police arrested an armed man in his late 20s yesterday afternoon after they say he caused panic at a Missouri Walmart. Officials say he was wearing body armor and carrying loaded weapons and more than 100 rounds of ammunition. When people started to notice him, the store manager pulled a fire alarm and urged everyone to get out. Police say an off-duty firefighter then tackled the man and held him at gunpoint until the police arrived. No shots were fired, and of course this all comes less than a week after a gunman killed 22 people in an El Paso Walmart.
You could imagine how frightening that would have been to see.
And here, I mean,
we'll have to find out what his plan. Did he have a plan to do anything? We haven't heard that yet. We'll look into that for you. Smokey the Bear, though, in lighter news, guess what? He turns 75 today.
Yeah, you probably know his famous slogan: "Only you can prevent wildfires."
Wait, he is Smokey Bear, not
Smokey
the
Bear.
I added the "the" in again. Larry schooled me on that one.
Yeah, it was just because of the song. The song said it. And that's the only place that's ever been referenced was the song, Smokey the Bear.
But that's
did you know
not
he
his
was
name.
unveiled back in 1944?
I did not know that. And his message about forest fire prevention is one of the longest running public service campaigns in history to celebrate Boise National Forest and the Treasure Valley Fire Prevention and Safety Co-op. They're throwing a free party. You can party with Smokey Bear. It starts at 10 o'clock this morning at Julius M. Kleiner Memorial Park in Meridian. It will go until noon, and guess what? Smokey Bear will also be making an appearance.
I understand there are birthday treats.
That too.
Yeah.
That
Don't
too.
get any frosting on your fur.
Well, this summer, something amazing happened in Melba that we want to tell you about. And there was no free lunch program offered for the kids in the area, so Ines Fox, a local woman, took matters into her own hands. She decided to create a free lunch program at the park there. So she put the word out on Facebook. Here are pictures from that. People in the community jumped on board to help the kids in Melba. They've had a free, healthy lunch in the park all summer thanks to this incredible community. These heroes in Melba. This Friday, today, this will be the last day before school starts. They're planning a special pizza party for the kids, all donated, of course, and it's just really special. We want to say thank you to all of these wonderful volunteers and donors in Melba who stepped up to make lunch happen for those kids. That is community coming together and making it work.
All summer long.
They ate all summer.
Amazing. That is really cool.
It really
Congratulations
is.
to everybody there. Let's check in with Larry for a look at our weather and cooler temperatures.
We are going to be seeing cooler temperatures. In fact, we're going to be as much as, well, today will be very near normal, but in the coming days, we're going to be 10 to 12 degrees cooler than normal. I'll show you that in a moment. Right now, what we're looking at is about 70 degrees. Yes, that's above normal for the overnight low. 61 is there, but that's because a lot of that cloud cover we still have. Things are getting a little bit calmer right now, but it's just short-lived. We do expect a bit of a break for today. Now, our high today will be about 91. We're going to have mostly sunny skies throughout much of the day, but then this afternoon, increasing clouds, a 30% chance of seeing some showers, isolated thunderstorms, but a lot of that is going to be moving more toward the mountain areas. There may not be much, and as Joey was talking about, when we have a thunderstorm like that, it often creates a lot of strong gusty winds, and those strong gusty winds create what we call outflow winds, and those can shift directions quickly, especially in the mountains. That's why it's so difficult to fight fires in the mountains when we have these kinds of things. Now, we will see improvement. Next week, we're going to be cooler overall, and in fact, most of next week starts off kind of cool, and then just near normal, but a little bit below normal for daytime highs. Maggie, Doug?
Thank you very much, Larry. We're going to take a break, and we will be right back.
An event for you that is one of the relaxing ones that we have of the year. It's the Napa Festival of the Arts 33rd Annual, free activities for the kids. Check it out. We're out here, Lakeview Park, in the Napa area, because we are talking about Festival of the Arts. Back again this year. It's going to be this Saturday, Sunday. John Berkey is with us. This is great. This is a family thing, and it's a hands-on family thing.
Yeah, absolutely. What we do is we provide opportunities for the whole family. If you're looking for a treasure to come out and see a local vendor that might be able to sell you something that you want to put in your home, that's what it's here for, as well as activities for the kids. The kids can come out and play and enjoy the art as well.
That's what I thought, because they get a chance to experience a little bit of that, but you're right. Now, the proceeds from this is actually, even though it's free to attend, the proceeds from this are actually helping benefit the Parks Department.
Correct. We utilize the proceeds to go back into our department and to offer more recreation programs for the city.
Right. The only thing we don't know is Saturday, Sunday. What are the times?
The times we're going to start Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, go till 6 p.m., and then start again 10 o'clock on Sunday, go till 4 p.m.
All right. Now, if you missed any of those details, we're going to have them for you. But remember, it's at Lakeview Park, Nampa area, Festival of the Arts this weekend. All those details are online. Go to Where's Larry, KTVB.com.
Well, coming up, if you build it, they will come.
It's finally happening for the first time ever. Find out who's coming to the Field of Dreams. Remember from the movie?
We're not talking about ghosts. Also, ever worry about your plants dying when you leave for vacation? Well, one hotel wants to take those worries away.
That's coming up in our morning brew, and our picture of the day is from Dirty Dog Runner. They say the early alarm, not always easy. It's always worth it, though.
Oh my.
A beautiful sunrise with some pups. Thanks for using the hashtag 7Summer.
From News Channel 7, time for 7 First Alert weather.
Welcome back. You know what? We are seeing a bit of clearing out there. We still have a few clouds, and it's kept us kind of warm. That's why temperatures are into the 70s right now and 57 degrees. Pressure's holding steady. Wind's not that bad. We're getting a little bit of a break. The humidity levels are up higher, too. That does help some of the firefighting efforts, but it's short-lived. More thunderstorms possible through this afternoon. Your 7 First Alert 7-day forecast, well, that's where those temperatures will be cooler overall, especially tomorrow and into Sunday. 80 degrees. Now, you would consider normal's at 92. Tomorrow's 10 degrees below normal. Sunday is going to be 12 degrees below, then just close to normal for daytime highs with a few clouds. Much milder into next week. That'll help.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Larry. Well, let's see what's in the morning brew today. You've heard the saying, no doubt, if you build it, they will come. But this time, it's true.
Yeah, for the first time ever, Major League Baseball, guess what, is coming to that iconic Field of Dreams from the movie. Wow. The White Sox, the Yankees will play a regular season game on this famous field in Iowa. The MLB is going to build an 8,000-seat stadium there, specifically for this game. I know it's going to sell out.
Well, yeah,
8,000,
of course it will.
The game's scheduled for August 13 of next year if you want to make your plans. Tickets are not on sale yet, but this is probably a once-in-a-lifetime. Although, if they're building it, they're probably going to do it every year.
Well, you would think they would come back once in a while, yeah.
That's the day before my birthday, guys.
It is?
Birthday gift.
It's the day before.
Road trip.
We don't want to give you an early birthday, Doug, so maybe next year.
That's what I'm talking about, for next year.
It is next year. It is next year, yeah.
Well, do you follow the 5-second rule when food falls on the floor?
Yeah, according to a new BuzzFeed survey, there are only certain foods where that rule should apply. 97% of us admit we'll eat a cookie if it falls on the ground. I can see that, just dust it off, right? Half of us would do the same for pizza, though. I am not on board for that one.
As long as it lands crust down.
Yes, I'm with Doug on that one. The other way is it doesn't work.
And when it comes to spaghetti and ice cream, about 5% of people say they will still eat it off the floor.
Well, is it the last bit of ice cream in the bucket or not?
I don't know.
Because, you know, you might be tempted to salvage something.
Spaghetti, though? Spaghetti frightens me.
Yeah, no, not
It
that.
soaks up everything on the ground.
Just pick it up with your hand and put it back on the plate. You know?
No.
Well, are you constantly worried about your houseplants when you're on vacation? A lot of people do worry about them dying, so a new hotel aims to help you out.
It's the Patch Plant Hotel.
Right.
Flat Pant, whatever. Patch Plant Hotel just opened in London. They'll actually keep plants alive for people while they're on their trips.
Yes.
Those people can even check in on their plants at any time. They can just call up and
But isn't it difficult for me to get my plants to London?
Well, yeah, it'd be tough for us.
Yeah.
Now, all the plants will
There's
receive...
no local franchise.
This is kind of bizarre. All the plants are going to receive a complimentary custom hydration treatment. So basically, they'll go to the spa while you're on vacation.
No, I think what that means is they'll water them.
They're going to water them, yeah. Well, maybe mist
it sounds more luxurious than my vacation.
Some need to be misted and talked to, so maybe it's custom hydration. Yeah.
Bookings, by the way, are free. So they do this for free?
Well, no, the booking is free.
Oh, just signing up is free.
Signing up is free.
But then dropping your plant off, that's going to cost you.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who would do that?
Just hire a house sitter.
Yes, that might be easier.
Or a neighbor to come over.
If you really love your plant, though, I guess that's a place to take it, to the nice hotel. I want to stay at the plant hotel.
Take their plants with them. We've taken plants on camping trips.
Have you really?
Just so we could water them.
Larry, that's funny.
It wasn't my idea. I resisted a lot.
Well, I wonder whose idea it was.
That
Only
cute
one other
one
person I can think of.
The cute one I can't say no to.
Well, this morning we're tracking the latest on the Nath fire that is burning north of McCall. Our Joey Prechtel is there for us following the story this morning.